go. All right. Welcome to the DSoG vlog. This is the second episode, hopefully the first with video, if everything goes according to plan. My name is Brooks, and my in-game name is Camel Hunt, and I'm joined here by my two friends. You guys go ahead.
My name is Carlitos. My in-game name is Chains and Whips.
And I am Ken. My in-game name is Beckraj.
All right. How are you guys today? Is everyone doing well? We all good? Second episode. Yeah. Kind of exciting. First one with video.
Yes.
Should be
After
pretty
the
cool.
First week.
Yeah. So that brings us. That is a nice little segue into our first topic of discussion. We've had a full week of professional League of Legends play, and the games were. It was fun to see the LCS start back up again. Pro League of Legends is one of those things that all of us live for. So it was fun to see things start again. But as a slight caveat to the enjoyment of the opening week, across every region, and probably I would say more than 70% of the games, they were very long. They were very low kill, low action, and frankly quite boring games. So certainly not all of these games were. There were some really, really good games in EU. There were some good games in NA. But generally the games were long, boring, very low kill.
I mean,
not exciting for the viewer overall.
Yeah, we did have the 95-minute SKT versus Ginger Green Wings
Good morning, America.
Yeah. That was
That game lasted till 10:30, man. That was like
it was
mid-morning,
over,
almost noon.
It was like past midnight in Korea when that game finished.
Yeah.
So
I think Papa Smithy and Achilles were just losing their minds.
Papa Smithy said it a few times on stream. He was like, "I'm gonna have some time off, but it's not gonna be enough."
Yeah, he's literally Papa Smithy is casting almost every day for LCK. I don't know how he's gonna.
Yeah, I think he is casting every day. He casts 5 days a week. So, but this brings us to our first topic of discussion, which is: do we think that these boring low kill games will affect the viewership of LCS? And do we think that Riot will do anything specifically to fix that issue? So I'll throw that one to you guys first.
I think it's hard to say about the LCS because the first week, everybody has a jitters. It's a best of one format. They're nervous. They don't want to lose that one game. But at the same time, this meta has now developed where it lasts 50, 60 minutes just to win a game. So I think they have to do something about it. Either A, half the teams say we win fast and hard, and then they win next week, or Riot has to get involved. And I think they will with 8.2, but that's, a week away? I don't think 8.2 comes out tomorrow. I think it's another week.
No, it's not tomorrow.
Well, that means.
But do you think to get to the central question though? Do you think that people will stop watching? Say for example that you, or maybe let's just a casual viewer. We're pretty hardcore.
Right.
I watched every single game this weekend. Maybe I wasn't paying very, very close attention to every single game, but it was always going. So that's my question: is do you think that perhaps someone who's more of a casual viewer would continue to watch?
I think
so?
Because it's the first week, people will give it another shot. But if there's 5-6 weeks of this, I don't know how people are gonna be able to do that. One of the reasons why people switched from why Riot switched from best of 3 to best of 1 is because games were just going way too long. Series themselves were going way too long. They had to have 2 streams. Not everybody was watching all of the games. So if games go 60 50, 60 minutes, like you're running into that issue again.
Yeah.
So, and then that puts just more stress on like the casters and the analysts who have to be there for even longer. So yeah, I definitely think that it'll affect viewership if this is a prolonged problem. But I don't think but I do think Riot is going to do something about it because they understand that they lose viewership if this is a continuous problem.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting though, because I think it would be particularly interesting if Riot made a decision to balance in the direction of getting more viewership. Like, because right now we have, these super long, we're getting to late game compositions. I think it'd be very interesting, and I honestly think it probably would be in their favor to move it in a different direction.
Oh, yeah.
Because League of Legends is a spectator sport, and it is constantly changing at the same time. It's very different than traditional sports in the sense of that, like something like soccer or football, you're not going to be able to change the number of players on the field. You're not going to be able to change the way that the field looks. League of Legends is a game where that kind of happens. You don't change the number of players, you don't change the way that Summoner's Rift looks, but you change the characters played, which drastically change everything about the game.
Summoner's Rift a few times.
They have changed it. They have. You're right. But it's been like these small, minute changes.
Like adding an extra camp. But still.
Yeah, and
how this is a new territory that esports is pioneering. Since when do we have a spectator competition event that the creators or the rule makers change the game just because it's not appealing to the spectator?
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, I think there's also a flip side of the coin where you have to ask the question of, is that not ethical in a sense? But it's like there's only 1% of the player base, probably less than that, plays professionally.
Oh no, it's like
so,
0.001.
Yeah, it's like much less than that. But the point is that should they balance the entire game around making sure the games are fun to watch for the viewer?
Well,
I don't know if they should, but at the same time, I think that they kind of should. I'm split. I'm kind of split on it. I don't know.
I don't think that they should. I don't think that should be their only look as to what they should balance. But there are things you can do, like champions that you can nerf or buff that won't have an effect on solo queue, because say they're too hard mechanically, or they need a lot of
like Azir,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly
like Azir, and there are
Rise
and Rise, with his ult, or Tom Kench, they're.
Well, to be fair, Rise should not have a 44% win rate in solo queue, and have a really high pick rate in professional play. I think that is not good, but that's a discussion for another time. All right, well, I think we could let's get away from discussing, if Riot should do anything about this, and the boringness of the game, and discuss why do we think that teams are deciding to draft these late game compositions, and why do we think that they're going so late? I have 3 theories that I can present. If you guys want to have some,
they're probably
thoughts,
the same theories we have. Why don't you present them and we'll discuss?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the first theory is we've kind of already mentioned it, just like you said, Ken. But I think that teams are a little bit timid to go hard in the paint. I think that as the split moves on, hopefully we'll get potentially some balance changes that would get some of these super hardcore wave clear characters out of the meta, and would maybe push us into a team fight meta, more of a team fighting meta. But I think that it's that. Teams are timid and they don't want to make a big mistake, specifically in EU and NA, because they are, just like we mentioned, best of ones. So, any thoughts there, or is that everyone pretty much agrees that's probably one of these?
Yeah,
problems?
I think that is a problem, specifically because this is the first year franchising, so no one wants to particularly do bad, and so they're trying to minimize their mistakes, but in doing that, they just play super passively, which draws out the games, and because of that, people are drafting these late game comps because they know it's going to get to that point, and also like it is the beginning of the season, and so a lot of these newer teams, or even the older teams that changed a lot of their players, like TSM and Team Liquid and CLG to an extent, they need to relearn macro and like communication.
Yeah.
And so like that's my theory as to why games are going so long, is because they're not their macro sense isn't to where it was, end of summer 2017 or Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're on the wrong.
Ken?
I think you're on the right track where their macro execution isn't the same level. The macro sense, I think that's why they're going for these long late game comps, because
I also think that's why they're pro players,
right,
because they have good macro.
Yeah, but we're talking relative to other pros, right? We're not talking relative to your solo queue player.
Well, yeah, but they all can execute, and we'll get into this when we talk about TSM, because we talked a little earlier about it, that these players can execute at such a high level that if you give them the late game comp, they'll just get there and execute. And that's kind of a bad thing when both teams have the same. So, some teams were trading COG for Azir and Rise for Sivir, and they kind of like balanced each other out in terms of late game splitting and pushing power and team fight power. So you couldn't get anything done when two, large, waves hit each other. They just cancel out.
Yeah, that actually is a good segue to the second theory that I have, is that it's just a symptom of the meta that we're currently in. And it really, really depends on what champions that you pick. I think the best example, and the by far longest example, was the SKT versus Jin game that we were talking about earlier. Because Jin had Azir and Sivir, two of the best, if not the best, wave clearers in the game. And SKT had Ezreal and Kassadin.
Not so much.
Ezreal, known as probably the worst wave clear AD carry in the game. He's very strong in the meta, but he's not very good at wave clearing. And then Kassadin, also not very good at wave clearing. So it also kind of brings up a question of who actually won that game? SKT won every other part of the game. It's just that Jin could stall out for so long. But I think it's an issue with drafting, because you just can't pick Sivir into Ezreal. Or you can't pick Ezreal into Sivir because she's just going to outpush you, and you can't push into that. So I think that's also a large reason why the games were going so long. So any thoughts there?
I mean, it's long games are
long games because long game meta.
Like you had the AD carry for Teddy, right? The AD carry for Jin almost 1500 CS. Like that's absurd.
That's
I mean, it was Papa Smithy during that game who said I think it was the fourth most CS the
was
second
in the game.
The first, second, third, and fourth most CS record holders were in this game.
Yeah.
Yes, you can say that's because they had a 95-minute game, but they had a 95-minute game because they could just clear waves so easily.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so my last theory. Okay. Now hear me out on this one. It's a little weird, but I think that there's a little bit of merit to it. In the beginning of 2017, Riot made a change to the minions. What they did was they made it so that backline caster minions were easier to kill. This is why Corki became such a huge pick in spring of 2017, is because he could one-shot the backline caster minions and roam before his opposing mid lane. Okay. So, my question is, are minions too easy to kill? Are minions not scaling well enough later into the game? Because here's the thing. In my opinion, if you have 3 inhibitors down and Barret,
this is some wonky shit.
You should win the game. If you have 3 inhibitors down and you have Baron, you should win the game. I mean, am I wrong about that? Maybe that's just me.
To all of us that said, what happens when you have Elder and Baron? The answer used to be, you win the game.
You win the game.
But
yeah.
That's
not the case
right
now. Yeah.
I also think, if you would talk about changes last year, minions, that's a good point. First tower. The 40% damage reduction on the bottom turret to prevent lane swaps.
Lane swapping, yeah.
How does that play to extending the game? It helps extend the laning phase past 10 minutes every game.
Yeah.
Because that's when the damage reduction goes away. So
I don't necessarily want lane swaps to return, but you're definely right. Because lane swaps it created an issue where both side lanes were just...
Yeah, their intention to ending lane swaps was great, but maybe dial it back a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, maybe don't have the buff last for so long, or maybe have the buff gradually go down, like once you hit a certain point up until...
I don't know. But I don't think this is a discussion we're going to get to an end at.
Yeah.
We're not going to answer the question, but I also think that...
It's just theorizing, right? Like,
yeah. One of the reasons that I think Riot made this decision to make the backline minions easier to kill is so that more team fights would happen. But what we're watching right now, no team fights are happening. It's just pushing. And I don't think that that's a healthy way to play the game.
In that game with SKT and Jin Air, there were a bunch of team fights. It was just that the minions were never in any position. Well, for the minions for SKT, whenever they would win a team fight, weren't in a position for them to win the game. But also, whenever Jin Air would win a team fight, the minions were pushed up all the way so they couldn't end the game sooner. But also when SKT won the team fights, pre 55 minutes, Jin Air still had like Sivir or Azir up, and Sivir can just clear all the waves with her W.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a lack of team fight. I just think in that specific game, the team comps and the situation.
I'm just thinking of some games that we saw in NA. I don't know if you guys remember the Clutch Gaming versus Golden Guardians. It was on Saturday.
I might have.
And there was like one team fight, and then Clutch just won. Like that's literally all it was. It's like Apollo just like mowed down towers on both sides of the map. They had one team fight, and Clutch won the game. And I was like, this is just boring as hell. Like, great macro from Clutch Gaming, and Golden Guardians just like rolled over and died. But like, I don't know. I think it's just like an interesting discussion. I wanted to bring it up to you guys because I don't know how valid it is, because I think we just have a very interesting meta right now where wave clear champions are just the thing. But maybe something that Riot will look at. Probably not. Potentially. All right, well, let's move away from this and go into the next topic, which was alluded to earlier by Ken, but we're going to talk about TSM. Team Solo Mid, probably one of the most hyped rosters that we have ever seen in North America. They went 0-2 this week. So as our resident TSM fan, I'm going to throw this one over to Carl. What happened?
I agree with the overall sentiment. Setting the first game against Team Liquid, Bjergsen didn't do shit. He finished the game, 0-1?
Yes.
How... They lost. He didn't die. Yeah, he didn't die, and they lost. He literally did nothing that game.
Wait, that's kind of one of the questions I wanted to ask though with this is, do you think that Bjergsen deserves
criticism?
A lot of the flack that he's getting? Because there are a lot of people up in arms, at least on Twitter
and Reddit,
about how Bjergsen was actually played really, really well, at least in the second game. So, do you think that he deserves the flame he's getting right now?
I mean, in the second game, I would say he played Xerath as best as he could in that game.
But there's only so much you can do.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do on Xerath. Like, I want to see Bjergsen on a different. I don't want to see him on Xerath, like, or Rise for that matter. Like, yes, his ultimate, Rise's TP or ultimate, he's done great stuff with. But it's not like it's not a playmaker in the sense of like, or like, you know.
Well, that's when Faker plays it.
Yeah, but that's Faker.
All right, well, let's break this down.
For the first game, right? Like the one that Bjergsen ended 1-0-0. He just had one kill, right? He only dealt 8.3k damage as Rise in a 28-minute game. The Malzahar 2-1-7 was the 10.4k. Like, that's Rise is like a more, I don't want to say pokey champion, but even just like lane interacting, you're gonna get a little bit more damage off.
He's like a mage fighter, you know. Like, he's not gonna blow you up immediately, but like,
it just seems like,
you know, it's gonna take him a little while. But he does a lot of damage. To me,
like Bjergsen, that whole game was kind of playing PVE, just not doing anything.
So, but here's another question though: do we think that maybe not in the first game, or maybe in the first game, because we did see Bjergsen show up pretty well on Xerath. I actually think he played the second game pretty damn well. It's just, like we were saying, it's hard to do anything with Xerath, and Sven was like inting that game. I don't know what the hell's going on. So do we think that it's a problem? Is the bottom lane the problem? Is it Haunter? Is it Mike Young? Is it everyone?
Thing about TSM. They have arguably the Summer Split's best top laner. Definitely top 3. They have one of the best 2 mid laners. You know, you can always debate Jensen, Bjergsen.
Jensen, yeah.
And then they have Mike Young, whom everybody who doesn't know anything about how to jungle thought he was better than Xmithy last split. And then you have Sven and Mithy, who are probably the best bot lane as just a 2 of them. I think so.
I don't know about that one.
If you look at how well they played without their team's interaction or the other team's interaction this past weekend, just the 2v2 times, they were winning.
Yeah, they were winning
completely. They just dominated it.
Yeah. I'm not telling you you're wrong. Right. I'm just saying I think that.
But
keep going.
They recruited all this top level talent, but they're not working at a top level team.
It's the whole
I think what's really important is to note.
It's the whole super
on this team
problem,
right?
Like Alliance before,
right? But I would like to point to the FlyQuest game. In the bot lane, they took the first tower, just Sven and Mithy by themselves, no help, mowed down that tower. 2 or 3 minutes later, Turtle and Stunt overpush. They get way too far forward. And all of TSM comes down. I think Haunter TP'd in. Bjerg did a Xerath ult from halfway across the map. And Mike Young and Sven and Mithy were there. But it didn't look like they were forcing FlyQuest's hand. They weren't like making Turtle overpush. Turtle just messed up, and when you have good players, they're just going to execute to punish the enemy's mistake. They didn't force a mistake. They only reacted to it. And that's why TSM is having problems. They haven't figured out how to work together to force a mistake. I'm not saying it's Bjergsen's fault. I'm not saying it's Sven and Mithy. I'm not even going to hate on Mike Young, or it's definitely not Haunster's fault. He was fine. So I think it's just they haven't gotten to that level.
They're still playing too reactive as opposed to proactive, which is what the problem was with TSM at Worlds, right? Like with, Bioboss, Doublelift, and Sven Scarens. So, like, my question is, if they keep playing too reactive and not proactive, was the problem actually then Doublelift, Biofrost, and Sven? Or does it have to do something with Bjergsen and...
I think that's a big question. I think
one of the common problems with TSM since they've
not getting out of
since
not getting out of groups.
Well,
it's
one of the common problems with TSM
just Bjerg
has been them playing too reactive and not proactive since after season 4. That's been a common problem with them. So no matter who else was on the team. So
what you're saying is they shouldn't have gotten rid of the odd one.
Yeah. They should have just kept the odd one.
But Bjergsen...
I actually think that's an interesting point, though, because I don't know if they've had...
Proactive jungle?
I don't know if they've had a proactive, like, leader voice jungle. That's the difference, is because we know last year that Sven Skaren, I mean, he was not good in the end. Like, we all know that. But we also know that most of the shot calling was done by Doublelift and Bjergsen. Yeah. Think before that, they had Santorin. There's no way in hell Santorin was out there shot calling a game. And then before him they had the odd one, just like you were saying. So I think that what they're trying to do with Mike Young is get a proactive jungler who can really take control of the early game.
Shyvana.
Yeah, but the thing is, I still think Mike Young might be too young. He might not have enough experience under his belt to really take that home. If TSM had picked themselves up a jungler like Xmithie, I don't think that they would have gone.
So what you're saying is they should have picked up Lyra.
Yes.
Because
I think Lyra would have been a great choice.
So here's the thing, the problem with Mike Young.
I think we've hit on something very important here by saying that they haven't had strong jungle voices.
The thing with Mike Young is and this isn't a knock on him, it's just a fact, he hasn't had enough time in the LCS. So when you have someone who's basically like a rookie or in his second year, how much is how much are veterans like Haunster, Bjergsen, Sven, and Mithy, who have all been to Worlds and who have won championships in EU and NA? How likely are players like that with that kind of pedigree? How likely are they to listen to someone who's just in their second year and hasn't done shit? As the shot caller.
It's true.
Especially
it's true.
Mithy, who's regarded as a great shot caller.
Yeah.
That's it.
I think that the question really comes down to how quickly Mike Young will get on his feet. Because I actually think he wasn't playing like himself this weekend. I don't think he was playing like himself. I hope that nothing changes. That's the one thing. I hope he doesn't turn into a ward like all the other junglers have. You're right.
He just became a jungler.
So I don't know. I think it all depends on how quickly he can improve, because we know that Sven is, up there with Doublelift as far as who actually is the best AD carry in the West, and obviously Reckless is on there too. So Sven and Bjergsen have proven time and time again that they're fantastic. So has Mithy. So has Haunster. Mike Young has shown moments where he's looked like he's the future of North American League of Legends. He's shown times when everybody's been like, this guy is incredible.
Yes.
So I think it just depends on how fast he can improve and how fast he can like really be the big voice that TSM needs in the early game, because that's who controls the early game. It's all the jungler.
I do think another problem with TSM was they didn't have enough time to really gel and practice together.
I think you're right,
especially compared to Team Liquid. Like,
yeah,
Team Liquid did like 2 Korean boot camps. Like,
yeah,
I
don't understand why TSM wouldn't have done that. Like it does. Why all the teams didn't do this? I don't understand.
TSM just wanted a little bit of a break. This might go back to like spring split doesn't matter too much, and like going into Worlds, like you just have to really to get into Worlds, you just have to win summer, or do well enough to get into the playoffs of spring, do well enough to get into to the playoffs of summer,
pretty much,
and then what?
There are not a whole lot of points in spring playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. So like,
you have to.
It might just be a case of they didn't practice long. They didn't have enough time to practice beforehand, and they just wanted to have a break because like TSM, and the new players that they got, they were at Worlds and All Stars. So
yeah. There wasn't much of a break. I can understand them taking a break.
So
I can understand.
It could just be they need more practice, and like I'm willing to, as a TSM fan, I'm willing to give them that time before.
Yeah, which is what most people are saying. Most people are saying that
another 2 weeks.
This team's going to come back with a vengeance, and they're just going to lay like a wasteland in their path, which I think is going to happen. It may not be next week. It may not be the 3rd week, but by the 4th week, I bet that this team is going to. Win almost all of their games.
Though, if it takes them that long
to start winning,
because they only have
I think it's probably safe to say. It's probably safe to say that they're probably going to go 1-1 several more weeks. Okay. I don't think they're going to go 0-2 anymore, unless they play like C9 Echo Fox in one weekend. They might go 0-2, but
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I think that from here on out, they're probably going to go 1-1.
I hope so. But I think I wanted to say this
or
to go back to the Bjergsen point. He puts too much pressure on himself. So you guys were talking about how he did, the best he could on Zero. I don't think so. He played so passively in a winning matchup with plenty of jungle proximity.
Is Xerath into a Azir is a winning matchup?
Yeah, early game it is.
I don't know that matchup at all.
It's a winning matchup. At least according to all the analysts this weekend, it was a winning match.
They said it was? Okay, whatever they say.
But even if it's not, he was up in CS and kills. He should have been able to press the tempo. But he was slowing the enemy's tempo, is what he was doing. Because I think, and this is something we're talking about, in every situation you can think of what you want and the things stopping you from getting it. And I think he focuses too much on the things stopping him rather than just overcome them and go get it. So that's what I think his issue. Yeah.
I don't know. I think Bjergsen is he's a hard player to really criticize just because he's been so good for so long. And like maybe it's time for him to have some sort of criticism. It's just that he's been so good for so long and has yet to fallen off his game. It's hard to talk about him in any sort of negative light. But maybe it's time that he gets that.
Well, he wins NA.
Yeah, maybe it's time that he gets
he wins
that.
NA, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I think
15
we've
minutes
exhausted this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's move on to our next topic. So this is a topic where I'd like it if each of us had like a separate player. The point is to talk about who you think is the single most important player for the split. Now, I'll preface this and say that Mark Z said that he thinks that Licorice is going to be the most important player for how the entire split shakes out. So the point is to say, like, if this player performs on this team, it's going to drastically change the way that the bracket looks. That's the point. It's not going to be who's the MVP. It's, you know, who do we think is the most important player. He mentioned Licorice because he pretty much said Licorice because he's on a team of veterans, first of all, and a team where every single player has shown themselves to be very, very good. So if Licorice can be average to good, C9 could win the split, basically was his argument. So do you guys have anyone in mind directly? I kind of have a couple players.
Can I start?
Go ahead.
Yeah, go for it.
They are my team, so I'm gonna say a TSM player. I'm gonna say Mike Young because we just talked about this.
Yeah,
about how
he was in my mind.
Like,
yeah,
they need a strong jungle presence who can apply pressure, work with the team well, shot caught well. Because like, you know, Sven and Mithy, they'll perform well in lane. Bjergsen, he'll perform well in lane, and Hamster, he'll perform well in lane, you know, depending on the matchup. So, like, all of their players, you know, are going to perform well. So they need Mike Young to be able to facilitate that play into something more. And so that's why I think Mike Young is going to be my player, my most important or most influential player for the season, because if he can do that, TSM makes a comeback, they win the split like usual, and I'm happy. See,
but if he doesn't,
no, if he does, yeah, but see, that's why he's the most influential player.
That's what's important is you have to be able to say what happens on each side.
Exactly.
It's like if he wins, this happens. If he loses,
it's that big of a difference. Maybe TSM doesn't make finals for the first time, but when was the last time we saw 4 great veterans and a questionable jungle? Oh, it was spring last year. C9 contracts.
Yeah,
it's the same formula,
right.
And they still made
contracts
it.
Was great in the spring.
He did.
So.
He looked pretty good early spring and playoffs. Middle he fell off, but it wasn't that big of a deal.
But I think the difference between then and now is that NA is so much more stacked now.
Yeah, but
like
I have more confidence in TSM as an organization that Mike Young's not gonna.
They
be
did start 0-2 though, right? Yeah. Like this is like starting 0-2 is what happens when Mike Young doesn't perform well.
All right, Ken, do you have one?
Acadian. Yeah.
Acadian. Oh, Acadian. Okay.
I was between Acadian and Dardoch. Because if Dardoch can function with Fox, they look incredible and gonna make a deep playoff run, maybe even win. But if he doesn't,
it's definitely possible after this week.
But if he doesn't perform, if he doesn't get his ego issues off, Fox stays a bottom tier team. So it literally changes who's in the playoffs versus who's not. And so that's why I think Dardoch is one. But I think Acadian is more impactful because so much of his team's play revolves around his ability to take over the game. Dardoch, Huni doesn't need Dardoch to take over the game. Everybody, even Power of Evil, needs their jungler to take over the game. So if Acadian can do that, it also shakes up the standings of where Optic finishes. Because
and I think that's a good player to look at because Optic is a team that most people probably consider to be 8th or 9th. So
I think
if they could even get like a
6th or 9th, I think that's the difference with Acadian.
Okay, but yeah. So do you think that the highest they could possibly be would be 6th?
No, I think the highest they could be is 4th, but it's very unlikely. I think the 6th to 9 range is where they're going to end up. And if Acadian plays well, probably 6th.
See, for me, I'm thinking with Mike Young, to go back to this, I think the range that TSM can end at is like 7th
to 1st.
To 1st. Like,
Yeah.
that's
a
right.
big
Like,
range.
it's that large of a range. Like, that's why.
I think
Yeah.
it's 6th to 1st with
Yeah.
Mike Young. I don't think they're missing playoffs.
See, but that would make.
That would make a difference.
That would, that's a bye versus not a
But
bye.
I'm
Still
thinking about
playoffs.
2 players that make the playoffs
True.
or not.
Okay.
So that's where my mind goes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I got a few. I'll focus on one specifically, maybe 2, but I actually think I don't want to say a lot about this one because I think it's like he's just going to do well, and I think everyone expects him to kind of do well. But I think Svenskeren could have a big impact on what happens in the league. If we see like 2016 Svenskeren summertime, then C9 could win the split, I think.
Easy.
So there's one. I think Apollo also. I think if Apollo could really kick it into the next level and get to a point where he's in the conversation with people like Vin and Doublelift and Sneaky, then I think that Clutch could finish top 3. I
Wow.
think that they have the potential in their lineup. I actually do. I think that there's a great team. But the one I really wanted to focus on was Cody's son.
Yeah.
Because I think Cody's son played so good this weekend. I think he was amazing. And he's on a team that also looks really, really good. He's on a team, if you think about it, collectively, the experience on that team is probably more experience than any other team in the league combined. Because Ryu's been playing since like season 2 or something.
Yeah.
Meteos has been here since the beginning, since C9 got in. Someday's been here forever. Afro Moo's been here since season 1, I'm pretty sure. And then there's Cody's son, who came in last year. So you know that all of those other players have shown themselves to be very good and have shown themselves to perform when they need to. So now the question is...
Not last year, but the year before.
Okay. But, I mean, it's still... He's only 1 year into LCS. Full-time.
But he's been to the finals.
So that's true. And he's also been to Worlds.
So that's a lot of experience
but I think...
on a team.
I think that if Cody's son can get himself into the discussion with Doublelift, Zvin, and Sneaky, and those 4 kind of like battle it out as like who's the best AD carry.
What else players, man?
I think Cody's son could really pull 100 Thieves into the next level, because I think this is a high playoff team. Maybe not a team that wins the split. I wouldn't be surprised if they did, but I think I'd be a little bit surprised. But if they made finals or semifinals, I think that'd be really good for them. So I think Cody's son's going to be my most important player of the split. All right. Anything else on that one, or are we good there?
I think that's...
Anybody else have any other sleeper picks?
No.
I'm looking at all the teams. Carl has them pulled up over here. I said Dardog, and I said
maybe.
You know who's a big one? Elimination, because he's garbage and he's gonna pull Optic down.
Yeah. That team is awesome.
I'm just kidding.
Until you get to the score, and you're just like,
Yeah.
just be the analyst, man. Get.
I think if we want to go to EU for a hot sec, I think Boris is going to be
Alright.
the...
We're gonna move
He's
on.
not playing anymore.
Alright.
We're moving on to the next topic. We all love us some Boris, but he's not playing anymore. All right, next topic. We got our power rankings. So this one should be interesting. After the first week, how are we going to rate these teams?
All right, let's put some ground rules.
Let me pull them up real quick. Let me pull
Put some ground rules in. Are we talking where they finish, how they looked, or what we expect?
Okay. I was actually thinking about how we could frame this too. I think what we could do is we could do like, who do we think were the best 3 looking teams this past weekend? Just 3.
Okay.
And then we could do a full
Like
across the split.
kind of
across the split. Who? Where do you think they'll finish?
So top 3 from
So
this
who do we
weekend.
think were the best 3 teams this weekend?
I'll go.
Anybody want to
Thieves and
throw them
Fox,
out there?
I think, and Liquid. That's it. Easy 3.
Okay. Do you agree, Carl? I think I agree.
Yeah, I think
I don't see an
I
issue
think
with
the
that. I
only
think those 3
team
teams were the best
that
ones.
I might put in there is Cloud9. Instead,
Who would you take out?
That's I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you
Right?
just picked
like that's the
Wait, didn't you have
2
Cloud9?
teams.
no.
Wait,
he said
who are your 3
Echo Fox,
again?
100 Thieves, and Team Liquid.
Fox, and Liquid.
Oh, I think I would switch out Hunter Thieves for C9 and say Liquid, Fox, and Cloud.
Yeah, if I had to switch out a team, I would say Echo Fox is looking number 1 if we're doing top 3 teams. Echo Fox is looking number 1. Team Liquid number 2, and then Cloud9 number 3.
Okay.
And then 100 Thieves 4.
Okay.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I agree
put-
with that.
Liquid 1, 100 Thieves 2nd, Fox 3rd.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Fair enough. I think they're all valid.
Oh,
I
they all
honestly
look
think
great.
that
I mean, they're all too low, so
could
like
literally put this any way we want, and it would be somebody will agree or someone will say like, yeah, I can totally see it that way.
Well,
All right. Well, let's do after seeing week 1. Let's do where do we think these teams will finish.
Okay.
I'll keep a
Okay.
list on Excel.
I'll go first. So I think number 1 is gonna be Team Liquid.
okay.
I think number 2 is gonna be Echo Fox.
Mhm.
Number 3,
Mm.
I'm gonna put Cloud9.
Mm-hmm.
4th, I'm gonna put TSM because I
Yep.
think that they're gonna make a comeback. 5th, I'm gonna put CLG.
Mm-hmm.
6th, I'm gonna put 100 Thieves.
Mhm.
7th, I would put Clutch. 8th, I would put Optic. 9th, who am I missing?
Why?
9th, I would put FlyQuest.
Ooh, Fly
And then
Quest.
10th, I'd put Golden Guardians.
Rip.
Am I next, or are you going, Brooks?
Yeah, Carl, you went really fast, and I couldn't pull up the Google Doc fast enough. So if you want to like go enter those into the Google Doc if you want, so we can all see them for the future. Yeah, Ken, go ahead. I'll write yours in, Ken.
So, number 1, I'm gonna pick Liquid. Number 2, Fox. 3. Ooh, that's hard.
It's
tough,
tough.
especially based off what we saw. I'm gonna go with 100 Thieves 3, Cloud9 4, TSM 5. This is tough. FlyQuest 6, Optic 7, CLG 8, Clutch 9, Golden
Ooh.
Guardians 10. Yeah.
Oh my God, boy.
This is based off what I
Boy.
saw, and if they continue to improve and compete similarly to what we've seen.
All right. Let's see here. I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna break from this mold that says that Team Liquid is gonna win.
Wait,
I don't know how I'm gonna.
final standing.
Yeah, this is just finished.
not
Yeah,
final
yeah.
standings. Who
Okay,
wins the playoffs?
I'm not actually gonna break from that mold. I'm gonna say TL takes first. C9 takes second. 100 Thieves. TSM. CLG. Clutch. Optic.
Clutch so much.
Who am I missing? Fly Quest. Oh wait. Oh, who am I missing? T9, TL, C9, Runner Thieves, TSM, CLG, Clutch, Optic, Fly. I want Golden Guardians last. I know that. Whoever is left is number 9. I'm not into adding this up right now.
You're missing Fox.
All right. Well.
You're missing Fox.
Oh
yeah,
shit!
That's a big.
We're just gonna move everybody down. All right.
Let's take Bikini Bottom and just move it over there.
Yeah.
That's the kind of move you're making.
Optic.
Y'all are hot on Clutch. I was not impressed.
I mean, they went 1-1. So
Yeah.
But we have them at 7th. That's out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's not too hot on them. We don't think they're a playoff team.
I think Fox takes 3rd. C9 stays in 2nd. All right. So, do we want to do what we collectively believe? Do we want to do a DSoG vlog ranking?
No,
real
I think
quick?
that's good.
Are we good
I think
here?
that's good.
All right. So, for our last little bit, let's do our predictions for this weekend.
All right.
So, the first game, we got Clutch Gaming versus Counter Logic Gaming.
CLG.
Yeah.
Can take CLG.
I'm going to take CLG also.
I think this is going to be a really close one, actually. I think Clutch could easily take it, but I think I'm going to go CLG too. Second game, we got TSM versus Optic.
If TSM loses to Optic,
I think they will. I'm going to go with Optic.
All hope is lost.
Yeah.
I
What?
think Optic wins.
Oh God, no. Okay, I'm saying TSM.
I'll defend it. So,
Defend it. Go.
Acadian?
Defend it.
is more confident than Mike Young. I think with the way Hanser performed last week, he and Zig probably about even, maybe slightly towards Hanser. Power of Evil, Bjergsen, pretty even match. Arrow beats Sven. And Mivy and Lemon are
Mivy beats
almost
elimination,
as
dude. What the hell?
off in their mechanics as each
I
other.
don't know about that.
And they're just as good in the shot calling game. So because of the edge out on the jungle, I give it to Optic.
I think TSM
I think
wins.
TSM smashes.
I don't know. It's not going to be clean,
No.
but TSM wins.
I say TSM wins too, and not just because I'm a TSM fan.
All right, so this next two are perhaps the most premier of the weekend. So these are going to be good games. We got C9 versus Echo Fox. Who we got?
Echo Fox, baby. Hooney's just gonna take over the game. He's gonna dumpster licorice and it's gonna be over.
Yes.
Like that's just
I'm
it.
also Fox.
I think C9. I think C9 takes it because I think that they have better synergy right now. Later in the split, maybe Echo Fox could take one, but I think
I'll take
C9.
Adrian.
I think C9 gets
Good
it.
yeah, all
synergy.
Adrian.
I
Dardoch, Phoenix, good synergy.
Yeah,
Hooney takes over the game. I think you're looking at Fox.
Dardoch did do an interview with
Obly?
was it Aubrey or Travis?
Well,
I think it was
after the game, it was
yeah.
Obly, but he had that other one with
yes.
Travis.
He was just saying about how he wanted to play with Phoenix.
Yeah.
Like he enjoys playing with Phoenix. Like when they had their year-long, stint on Team Liquid together.
And Phoenix had an interview where he said
The same thing about
the same thing.
Dardoch.
He's like, I like playing with Dardoch.
So I definitely think that there is they have that synergy. Adrian and Alltech very stable, cohesive bot lane, and then Hooney just does what Hooney does.
Yeah.
So
I think that what happens is that C9 is going to see the light through the chaos that is Echo Fox.
they don't play a chaotic.
They're going to see the light through the aggression. They're going to see the light through the aggression, and they're going to. They're
Maybe
going to
4 out of 5 players will
that's
see the
what's gonna
light
happen.
through the aggression, but Licorice gets stomped.
Yeah, Licorice is going to die. Licorice is. They're going to have to leave him behind.
Sorry, Licorice.
He will not make it to the other side.
Sometimes you just gotta take your team, put them at the enemy nexus, and hope they kill it. That's Licorice.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the next one. We got 100 Thieves versus Team Liquid.
Tough one, but I go with Liquid.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Liquid. Double Lift is.
I think they're gonna win too.
Double Lift is just gonna smack them.
Yeah.
Man, that bottom lane.
Gonna be like,
That's gonna be
he's
something
gonna look
scary.
at Aframu, and then look at Cody's son, and be like, "You replaced me with the wrong Asian.
Yeah.
I'm Rush Hour, not him."
The original is always better than the
Liquid takes
sequel.
Yes. Yes. And
All right,
that's
game.
That's a swap.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
really cool.
That's why it's gonna be interesting. All right, last game of Saturday is Golden Guardians
You know who
versus FlyQuest.
wins this game? The person who turns off stream.
FlyQuest.
You know who? Yeah, I was saying,
Who
you know who
wins
loses
this
this game? People who watch this game. That's who loses.
FlyQuest wins.
Oh
Oh
my
yeah,
no
FlyQuest,
god!
FlyQuest wins the season.
FlyQuest.
Kin. Yeah, FlyQuest. I think we
Golden
mean
Guardians looks terrible.
FlyQuest. I think we mean the Immortals B team.
Yeah.
And Liquid 2.0.
Turtle,
So
Honda, Stunt. Yeah, B Team Immortals.
yeah,
Turtles.
He was
that's
replaced
basically it.
Okay.
by a rookie.
Yeah.
Oh, Turtle went to TSM and won the
Yeah,
split.
Turtle
I don't know.
did go to TSM.
Like, he went to TSM and won the split.
He
So
wasn't-
like,
I mean, they quickly replaced him for Double It. Like he's B
Well,
Team,
yeah.
TSM, and IMT.
Okay. All right.
all right, okay, we're moving into Sunday. Also, very interesting
Sorry,
game here. We got Echo Fox versus TSM.
It breaks my heart to say this
They're
as a
gonna go
TSM fan, but Echo Fox is just gonna stomp this.
I think TSM wins. I think they win.
This is weird.
I think that
This is
Hanser
so weird
is
right
going to
now.
do perfectly fine against Huni, and every other aspect of the map. is
TSM
gonna
wins. And
Echo
here's why.
Fox.
Bjergsen won't die to Dardoch and Phoenix. So, and Hanser's good enough to like stave off Huni. So, I think Zavan and Mithy carry the game upwards across the map. I think TSM wins.
I agree.
I
I
just
think
think
TSM
that
takes it.
I don't think TSM is going to be able to fix their communication issues yet, and so.
Yeah, but who's to say Echo Fox got better
Yeah.
communication than
But we were
TSM?
just talking.
I'm just saying.
We were
like,
just talking about how like there's synergy with Dardoch and Phoenix. And,
Well,
you know,
Dardoch and Adrian just go smoke a fatty.
Dardoch and Phoenix
then
haven't
they
played
play
together.
that is some
Dardoch
kind of
and Phoenix.
synergy.
Some synergy.
Dardoch and Phoenix, since the end of 2016, hadn't played together in a whole year. So I don't know if the synergy may still be there, kind of, but it's not at peak yet. I'm not saying the same for Mike Young and Bjergsen, but I'm saying the synergy is probably at a similar level. So I think TSM beats Echo Fox, but it's going to be a good one. I think that's probably going to be the best game of the weekend. Next up, we got C9 versus 100 Thieves.
100 Thieves.
It's a tough one.
100 Thieves.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
What do you think, Carl?
I'm gonna go 100 Thieves too.
I'm so torn, man. I have a lot of faith in
I
C9
have-
this year, actually.
Almost no faith in Licorice, and only a little bit more in Svenskar. All the faith
I
in
think
Smoothie,
here's
though.
the thing. I think
Great support.
I think if Licorice can do okay against Huni, he'll do fine against Someday. So I think that's going to be one of the catalysts for both of those games. I think if he can just do okay versus Huni, he'll do fine against Someday.
I mean, yes, but also, I'm not saying that Licorice is gonna do okay against Huni.
Yeah, I never.
Yeah, I'm not giving him that stipulation. So.
Yeah,
100
I'm
Thieves.
just throwing that out there.
So 2-1, 100 Thieves.
100.
I'd say 100 Thieves
Oh,
wins
3-0.
too. All right, Optic versus Fly.
Fly.
I love Optic, but Fly seems pretty coherent.
They're gonna fly over the green wall.
I think
you might say.
I think Optic Gaming takes this one.
Hell
Actually,
yeah.
might be a surprise,
disagree,
but I think
but-
Optic takes that one.
Hell yeah.
Good on you, Brooks. Good
Yeah.
on you.
I like the team. I want to see him win. I like him more than I like
Great
FlyQuest.
team, except
You know?
the sport.
Yeah.
Next one, we've got Golden Guardians versus CLG.
CLG.
Another, just turn off stream.
Let's hope.
No.
CLG.
Let's hope
want-
CLG. No,
I
come
wanna-
on. CLG is
I
a
wanna
good
watch this
team.
game.
No, it's not. When I say turn off the stream, it's not because both teams play bad. It's just not worth watching Golden Guardians do anything. Yeah,
Lose.
it's just-
Okay.
But I do want to see.
Man, it's
I
literally
just like to watch.
Golden Guardians is so
Yeah.
bad, dude. It's like watching Liquid 2.0. They just don't do anything, you know? It's like,
Over and,
come on, guys. Like,
But I do like to watch CLG.
Lorlo and Matt, man.
oh yeah, CLG.
Ugh.
CLG wins.
Yeah, CLG wins. And the final game, TL versus
TL.
Clutch.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I like Clutch and like
So good.
think they're a pretty good team, I think TL beats them.
Yeah, no, Team Liquid wins this easy. So easy.
All right. Well, that was it. That's all we planned on talking about today. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you watched as well as
Yeah.
listened on all possible platforms. That is YouTube, or you can check us out on SoundCloud, wherever you can find it. And thank you for listening. Tune in next week. Also, if you did not watch or listen to the episode from last week, please go and do that as well. So thank you for tuning in. This is the DSoG vlog. Peace.